I didn't go home for a long time. I was really scared, and if I did, I would just avoid going out or anything. So there's a lot of guilt associated with that, and it took me a really long time to forgive myself and get over that and realize that it takes two.
Sometimes our world crashes down, all we know goes up in flames. A broken bone that heals is much stronger than before. Don't look down, keep your head up high. You'll be free from this pain.
Hey everybody, I'm Don Amero. Welcome to Through the Fire. Today we have Kelly Prescott. She's an incredible musician, I think one of the best voices in this country. And today she's here to talk about love, loss, and connections to those we love.
You see the light.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited that I get to have Kelly Prescott with me here on Through the Fire. I'm going to do this to start because I was thinking about this before you came, and I kind of I've been a bit quiet since you walked in because I always feel like when we connect too much, then I'm robbing too much of the moments we get to share here.
Yes, true.
But Kelly Prescott is one of the finest singers in this country. I'm not just blowing smoke. I don't say that all the time. Not only that, one of the finest performers in this country. I've seen you perform so many times, and every time you perform, you move me to the core with what you do, and you are just so brilliant, and I'm just so glad that you said yes to being here with us, so thank you.
Wow, okay, well, I'm just going to cry right off the bat, so we're off to a great start.
Well, the other thing is when you're done listening to this podcast, go find her music if you haven't heard of her stuff before. It's really worth it. Well, first like and follow this podcast, and then go look for Kelly Prescott because it'll be well worth the search. So.
Well, I feel the same way about you, my friend, and I think the first time we met was at a songwriter series when I asked you before I even met you to sing with me.
That's right, yeah.
To do a duet together.
Then Dylan, my guitar player also
and
was...
then he played with me after.
That's right, yeah.
The second I heard your voice, I just fell in love, and when I knew that we were doing that songwriter series together in Toronto at Hughes Room, I wrote you and I was like, dude, please, you don't know me, but will you sing with me?
Well, I mean, it only took me one quick search to hear what you do, and I was like, I'm in, I'm signed up for what you do, so glad you're here.
Well, thank you for having me.
How's things going in the music world with you these days? Probably always crazy.
Always crazy. Well, after the last 2 years, it's so nice to be back at it, as I'm sure
face
you
to
feel
face.
The same way. Yeah, no more Zoom, no more
masks.
No more. Yes, just no more online performances. I think that really.
I got tired of performing in front of my camera on my computer.
Wasn't it the worst?
It was the worst.
Yeah. There's no energy. You're not getting that feedback from the audience that sort of fuels you, and that adrenaline is non-existent in the online.
That energy, yeah, that sort of reciprocated thing that happens with us and our audiences. So we've missed you.
We have missed you big time. It's so nice to be back. But yeah, crazy summer. We were on tour for 5-6 weeks with Dallas Smith. And,
that's right.
And then jam-packed summer of fun and festivals. So
we were talking about this just a second ago about how we crossed paths a couple years ago. I think it was still COVID life because you guys were doing the hotel concert on the rooftop of a hotel.
Yeah.
And you told me about your dad. So again, those of you that don't know, Randall Prescott, Kelly's dad. So you're a third generation musician.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd think I would know better by now, like 2 generations that.
But it's worked. Not only for your folks, but also for you, and there's a path that's been carved that you've been able to sort of. Would you say you've found your footing thanks to your folks, or?
Honestly, I would say that I rebelled a little bit because of my folks.
Okay.
I think I never took the same path they did, and I was always like, I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna do something different. So I think that I made it a little harder for myself by not always listening to them.
Yeah.
And musically just changed directions so many times that I think it was probably a little slower. I always like to take the really long way around, so
Which is sometimes the better way,
yeah.
maybe.
Well, it builds character, right?
It has to.
I think it has.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
Well,
character.
look at your character. Look, you must take a long road to get here.
I took a long road. Believe me, I took every long way possible.
A
So,
lot of stuff to see, I'm sure.
oh hey, the detour is the best part. It's where you
So-
see all the weird stuff.
Randall Prescott last year won the Alan Slate Humanitarian Award.
Yeah.
Am I right? And
well,
then-
Canadian Pacific Railway, yes.
Yes,
our
yeah.
work for
Right.
CP Holiday Train.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this year, up for Hall of Fame inductee into the CCMAs.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It is. I mean, it's the right time. It's really nice to see him finally be recognized for that, because he was just, a lot of people don't know. I mean, he was just such a behind-the-scenes guy. He was obviously in bands as well, but I think they won studio or producer of the year something 10 years in a row in the 90s, and Juno, 3-time Juno winner, Grammy nominated. Like, he's done it all. So
Done a lot of things.
It's really nice to see him be recognized this year, and it came at such a good time because it's been a very tough 2 years on him.
This is what I'm getting at. So when we met on that rooftop, when you were doing the outdoor rooftop gig at the hotels, you had mentioned that your dad was very, very ill, and Randall is still with us, so we're happy to say. And but what was that piece like for you? Because you had kind of dropped everything and went to move in with your folks.
Yeah, well, honestly, it couldn't have happened. This is a horrible thing to say, but it couldn't have happened at a better time. It would have happened, I guess, February 2021. No. Yes. Oh God. So we were where we were living at the time, and driving actually back to my parents' place, and I got a phone call from my brother. I actually missed like 12 calls or something, but we were out of service, and finally got home and saw all these calls, and nobody was home, and I thought that was really weird because there's always somebody home. But yeah, my dad had a stroke. He was alone at the time, and in his hillbilly hot tub, he makes the weirdest shit. But he built this like hot tub in the garage, and anyways, he was alone. Luckily, he had his phone, but he just sort of
In the hot tub.
in the hot tub. So right away, a miracle that he made it. Just that alone was like, wow. So yeah, had a stroke. My mom raced home, managed to somehow get him into the car, got him to the emergency room, and they got him straight to Ottawa, because where I'm from, it's about an hour away from the biggest major hospital. So got him in, and I mean, they caught it in time. I mean, in time enough that there was no permanent damage. I mean, I always joke with my dad that if he had lost his sense of humor, I would have just sent him out on an ice floe. So luckily, he's still
all
sharp
intact.
as a tack. Yeah. His humor is inappropriate and hilarious as ever. But
So you get it from your dad.
yeah, I guess.
right,
Yeah, ham like him. I just never expected it, because my dad is so young at heart and so healthy. He's not a smoker. He's not a drinker. He's not. He eats like a bird. So all the things, it was just so strange. So anyways, we kind of dropped everything and moved in, because it was also in the middle of a pandemic.
So was it the pull to kind of just be closer to dad, be there as a support? We're in a pandemic.
My mom,
kind of all that.
Yeah, I mean, my brother lives 10 minutes away too, and he's got 2 young kids. So it just all worked out really well that we had the time. We weren't on the road. We were kind of locked up anyways. So it worked out really well that we could sort of designate some time to take care of my family. And it's so weird, you grow up, you never you know that life is short and blah blah blah, but to watch your parents go through something like that is you just don't, you're never prepared for it, you know. Especially my dad is just so active, and he's such an outdoorsy person, and for him to feel so trapped in his own body and not be able to do anything. So basically it was he was in the hospital for about 3-4 months, I guess, and because of COVID, my mom and I had to go through like full PPE training, and we rotated personal protection. What is it? I don't know. It's whatever. It's like the full.
Okay.
We had to be in we looked like we were going to space.
Okay.
Basically,
right.
So the full mask, the shield, a hairnet, like robes, the whole way down.
To support your dad through this.
Yeah, well, just to be in the hospital.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
right.
every day we had to go through all this stuff. So
were you in the room like that?
Yeah. I couldn't take it off while I'm in the room, so I'd be hanging out with my dad for 3 hours and full workout. Yeah, exactly. It was like, hey, Dad. Yeah, it was quite a weird time.
So how long was he in for?
I guess three or 4 months.
Okay, really?
I think, yeah, Briere in Ottawa, and it was just so.
Was part of him being there rehabilitation, like physiotherapy
yes, it was
stuff, all that?
So he was paralyzed left side, and when we finally got him home, I mean things were going okay, and then my dad, like me, tends to take on a little too much, and he thought he was doing okay, and then he had a fall and broke a couple bones, and it had a concussion, and it was a major setback. So
he wasn't trying to get in the hot tub again, was he?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
No, I don't even know. I think he was trying to let the dog out or something.
Okay.
Yeah, another setback. So we stayed. We were only supposed to stay a couple months, but it just kept going on and on. But that was the time that Ted Lasso came out.
Wonderful show.
Honestly, it's crazy. To this day, I'll go home and hang with my parents, and we'll put on Ted Lasso, and it's like we've never watched it. Like
Right.
we laugh and cry, and it's a crazy thing. But I actually give credit to Ted Lasso for getting us through that period. I know
Fair
it sounds
enough, yeah.
really strange.
I know
but
it got us through some stuff.
It was just that. In such a heavy time, it was like that 1 hour in the day that we could just turn everything off and laugh and cry and just feel good.
So part of your therapy was Ted Lasso.
It really was. Honestly, it was pretty special to have that show at the time. So that show still means a lot. We were actually just home last week, yeah, and we had it on again.
Yeah.
Like, how many times we watched it, I don't even know. But my dad went to bed early, as he always does, but it was funny, the next morning I came out, we were having coffee together. He's like, I listened to you guys laugh for hours. He's like, I didn't fall asleep because it was just so beautiful to hear you guys laughing together as a family. And he's like, I can't believe after, this much time and the amount of times you've watched it that you still get that much joy out of it. So I had to explain to him, I was like, Dad, you were in the hospital. Like, this was what got us, it's what got us through.
Right.
And it was just a nice little reprieve from the reality of
what was going on.
So anyways, thanks Jason. Really appreciate that. But
so your dad, he had lost the left side of his body, lost mobility. How's that now?
Well, you'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
He's still, like, his left arm is still, he can do about that much. And he's making progress every time we get home. He doesn't see it because he's living it day to day.
Right.
But he's making great progress. It's so nice to see. He still can't play guitar, and that's killing him a little bit. So when I go home, he makes me play the left hand, and he plays right. So we sit together. I roll my eyes, but it's pretty sweet that we get to do that. Are you kidding me?
That's the stuff that's going to carry you through into the next life.
Right.
Those are the memories that are going to carry you for a long time.
Yeah. And he can still play harmonica, so that's, once he discovered that, he was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and he got this special bike that they make for stroke patients, and it's, he's biking like 20 kilometers a day or something now, and it's amazing. So it's nice.
I'm not sure I could do 20 kilometers a day right now.
I know. I'm like, your left leg doesn't even work. How is this possible? But No, he loves it. He's so active. Well, as much as he can be,
So
living with half a body.
You keep talking about your dad, and you have I think you always have this glow about you, and I think you do. But when you talk about your dad, there's this other level that I'm sensing from you about your dad. Have you always been this close to your dad?
No.
No. Okay.
No, my God.
Okay. All
No.
right. So when did this because I mean a lot of parents and their kids, and you go through this phase where you're like, I don't want to be near you or be. Did you guys have that at some point in time in your history?
Yeah, we did. He had a tough. My dad, great human, but he's had the worst luck with health. He had the worst case of kidney stones in Canada for about 10 years. He passed, I mean, the record, like it's a record or something, how many kidney stones he passed. And
You're kidding me. I didn't even know there's a thing that they kept track of.
Yeah, it was
I hope I never touched that
it's
record.
Insane. He went through hell in the 90s and ended up selling the whole studio, got rid of everything, kind of left the industry for a while, and that was really tough. And he was in pain all the time, so he was not himself.
Not himself, yeah.
So while I was hitting late teen years, we fell out.
Tough years for you, probably tough years for him.
Yeah, exactly. When I went off to college, we didn't talk for a while. There were a couple rough years there where we're just so similar too. That's really difficult. My mom and I are not as much alike, so we've always been way closer. We get along really well. She's my best friend. I love my mama.
Yeah.
But my dad and I just we can either, it's all or nothing.
Right.
We either want to kill each other or love each other so much. And it took a while to get over that, but as soon as we did, like, since I was in my early 20s, we've been so tight.
Okay.
I mean, we talk every day on the phone.
Right.
He FaceTimes me every day.
I've heard people tell me that a couple times in my life, and I left home at 17.
Whew.
And
I did too, actually.
And I literally, communication with my folks dropped.
Gone.
I mean, I love both my folks. I lost my dad a couple years ago, but my mom, she and I talk once every month or two.
Wow.
Which is really odd when I think, especially when I hear about people who talk to their parents every day.
Yeah.
One of my friend, your friend too, probably Danik Dupel, talks to his parents every day.
Aww.
That sort of relationship I'm envious of, and my mom's probably watching this going, well, you can call me, Don. I'm here anytime.
Exactly.
I know, Mom. Sorry, I'll call you. That is such a beautiful thing to hear, that your dad's checking in on you every day.
Oh yeah. And
How long has he been doing that?
Well, since the stroke.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So
before that we still talked, 3-4 times
but
a week.
There's got to be like this level of like preciousness to every day now.
Oh yeah.
More than ever before.
That was like I said, it was a horrible thing that happened, but the fact that it happened at that time and that we could be home and get through that together as a family, the fact that my mom wasn't alone, and the fact that we did make it through and came out the other side, and not that Dad's 100% yet, but we're all really hopeful he'll make a full recovery. I think he's just stubborn as hell, so it's going to happen.
Right. I bring this up because, and I don't even know where I want to go or how I want to get into this with you, but I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this, but you were married.
Coffee.
Get the coffee. You were married before.
I was.
I didn't know that you were married. I've known you for a couple of years. I didn't know that was a piece of your story.
Yeah.
Your song Church, does that have anything to do with that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all about that.
Okay, so
Except I don't go to church.
A lot of folks in my world have always loved my song Church.
Church.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yours is better.
No way. I wouldn't agree with you at all on that. I heard you sing your version of Church, and it was just brilliant and beautiful, and it's one of those songs that wrecks you when you hear it, right? Because it was just like, it talks about splitting up and who gets the church. There's the big line. Go listen to it. I don't know where to begin. Like, so you were married to somebody, were they in the industry as well? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to name names or anything.
No,
I don't need to get into that, but
I'm fine.
But yeah, when did you get married?
I was young. I was 21 when we started dating, I think.
Okay.
22 when we got engaged. 23 or maybe 22 when we got married. I'm just too young. Well, I shouldn't say that because you're doing well. Yeah.
Working on it.
Well, you're nailing it. Yeah, I got married a little too young, and we were really happy for a long time, and then it was tough because we were both in a band together, and we were doing what we loved together, and it just became a little too hard for him to keep up with that, and he kind of fell out of love with music, and honestly, that's kind of where things fell apart.
Was music the spark that brought you together?
That's what brought us together, and he was the responsible one. He got a real job and kind of let me live my own little, go off to Nashville, do this, do that, and we drifted over the years, and I was spending a lot of time in Nashville, and then wanted to move to Toronto, and he didn't want to move to Toronto, and so we tried to do the long distance thing for a while, and it's not easy.
Yeah, I don't understand how people do it, to be honest.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a needy person, and sorry, Chad.
That's a big thing to admit, though, too.
I am. I'm totally fine to admit that.
But you don't strike me as a high maintenance need.
No.
You just strike me as somebody who wants to be a companion
snuggle
and snuggle.
Yeah. And I want to order Uber Eats and watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and it sucks to do that by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do like my alone time too.
Right.
But no, it just kind of, it fell apart, and it was really tough because I was the one that pulled the plug in.
Right.
So I'm from a very small town. We're both from the same small town. So I'm kind of the one that got blamed for everything, and I felt like I couldn't go home for a long time.
So the whole town probably, obviously, because everybody knows everybody's business and what's going on.
Yeah. I didn't go home for a long time. I was really scared, and if I did, I would just avoid going out or anything. So there's a lot of guilt associated with that, and it took me a really long time to forgive myself and get over that and realize that it takes two. And the toughest thing was losing our friends and family that we had built over the 8 God, I can't even remember now. 8 years, 9 years together. So we had nieces, we had nephews on my side, but that was hell, man. It was awful. Like all the friends that we made, I don't really keep in touch with them that much. Some of them have been great, but it was really tough. And the other hard thing was the fact that we were in a band together. That was my security blanket, really. Like Adam Anders and I we were in a band called the Claytones, and we toured together for 8+ years. And when that dissolved, or when our marriage fell apart, that dissolved too. And I didn't feel confident enough on my own to go out and tackle the world and do it. And so it was, it took me a really long time to build up that confidence, to realize that I can do this on my own. And looking back, it was the best thing that, awful, but the best thing that happened to me to become the artist that I am now. I think that I needed to do that to realize that I can do this on my own, and I am strong enough. And it was a weird time. It was definitely really, really tough. But
well, that story of being in love, being together, and finding out that it's not going to be forever, that's a pretty common story, unfortunately. Right?
It is.
I'm always curious, like, this show being called Through the Fire. What is it that in those dark times, like, I know I'm joking when I say it was Ted Lasso that got you through with your dad, but like, it seemed like it was very community, family, togetherness, that idea of building these moments and memories together. But in this scenario, in this story with your, the divorce, what did you cling to? Do you remember what you were clinging to at that season of your life?
I left Nashville and moved to Toronto, and I moved in with two of my best friends, two of my best guy friends that were in the Ottawa music scene, and they were the ones that really got me through that. We had a lot of fun together, and then writing. I just started writing my ass off, and that's where all the material for Love Wins, my EP that came out in 2020, it's where all that stuff came from. So writing was so therapeutic for me at the time. It was easier to write about it than it was to talk about it. It was kind of before I was going to therapy, before I was admitting to things being so crap. I think I just sort of powered through for a while, and so writing was the one time that I could just be vulnerable and let it all out. But like I said, I'm grateful that I took that chance and moved to a new city, made new friends, and ultimately, learned how to be a performer and a writer and just to be in this industry on my own, stand on my own 2 feet. And then a year later, I met the greatest human and fell in love very unexpectedly. We were friends for months before that was even a thought in our minds. We were friends for quite a while, and then it just sort of clicked. And the ultimate love story. I've never been happier in my life. It's just amazing. I didn't know that I could feel this way. It's especially after going. I think there's also like a bit of, you punish yourself a little bit after going through a divorce. You you don't think that you deserve it again. Almost, it's like, well, you've screwed up once. Why do you get a second chance, right? So I think that for a while I didn't really let myself do that, and then it just happened so naturally.
What's this idea that's running through my head as you speak is that, brokenness isn't what defines us. You don't have to stay there. You can go beyond that, and sometimes that season of brokenness is what's sort of the birth to the next chapter of your life. And
well, the toughest materials, right, they're forged in under pressure.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is you don't realize it when it's happening. It feels like the world is crumbling around you, and you survive. You make it through, and you're always stronger on the other side. For me.
That's the whole idea behind the show.
Yeah.
Is just helping people get through to the other side, because it's stories like yours that I think a lot of people will listen to and hear and go, oh, I'm not defined by this thing. This thing sucks. This thing's hard.
It happened.
But, you can move past it, and on the other side of that, there might be something more beautiful and greater than you've ever imagined.
Oh.
And that's what you are. You're a living example of that. So.
Aww.
Thank you, Kelly Prescott, for coming to hang with me and chat a bit.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So
Pleasure's
nice to
mine.
see you.
You see